Hey everyone, exciting news. We've officially launched the Paranoid Perspective Patreon. If you love what we do, unpacking conspiracies, chasing mysteries, and laughing through the weirdness, now you can support the show and get more of it.
So, for as little as $5 a month, you will get exclusive access and extra perks to the episode. Sarah, what do we get with tier one?
So, tier one is the Curious Minds, and you get a shout out at the end of every episode.
Next tier, this is what you guys really probably want, ad free episodes. We don't need those pesky ads that you guys are getting on Spotify, Apple, whatever else. You will get all episodes ad free, along with what else, Sarah?
You'll also get it ahead of time. So before the episode releases for that week, it'll be available for you to watch or listen.
So, if you guys are interested, check in the show notes down below, or you can head to patreon.com/ the Paranoid Perspective Podcast. Welcome back to the Paranoid Perspective. I am Jake.
And I'm Sarah.
Sarah, I've been thinking about this here lately, and we have had some fucking crazy experiences happen in our life. I'm like having this thinking back to different things. A little bit, man, because I don't know. I've never thought about it that way, but it's like now that we've started this, man, we've had some wild shit happen in our life.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, you're joining cults and I'm astral projecting, and I think the theme of this episode is we're going to kind of keep going down that same vein because this hits close to home again, you know?
Right. Yeah. So this week we're talking about the disappearance of Kirsten Brueggeman, which she was born in 1994 to her parents Lisa and Rex, and she lived in Indianapolis. And actually, she went to my middle school and high school. So I knew her. She was in my graduating class, and eventually she did become part of my friend group in high school, although we didn't stay friends past high school, so I don't know her when she disappeared, but we were friends. She was part of my group. I think I'm gonna have a lot of screenshots and stuff to share, but first thing I'm sharing to prove to people. Whoops.
Hey, you're muted. You're muted.
Am I back on?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, I hit the top of my mic. Okay, so this is my yearbook. And this is me right there as a senior. And then this is Kirsten. I didn't want to show anyone else's pictures, but
Well, sure.
there's Kirsten. So we're in the same grade. And I was going to share my screen. How do I share just part of my screen? Select the tab. Oh, a window. Okay. I should have practiced this before.
Ah, it's all good. We're doing it on the fly. Magic of editing will work everything out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to move you down here. Oops. Oh no. Just keep hitting the same button. Okay. So share this screen. There you go. This is a picture I took of Kirsten and our friend. So she was in our friend group, not just in the same high school. So
Right.
now I'm sharing that. So just for the people who would say that I didn't actually know her or whatever. But
Right. Well, the thing too, I appreciate the context too, because I mean, you never know. People say crazy shit all the time about how they knew people after the fact and whatnot. But I think I think everybody can relate to, the friend group that you had in middle school and high school is usually like you think you guys are always going to stay together and you're going to know each other forever. Dude, I don't even think I talk to anybody I went to high school with anymore. You know what I mean?
yeah, right. I don't either. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
talk to anyone from high
No.
school. So, but yeah, I mean, she was kind of weird in high school, but the rest of us were too in our group.
I was
So
gonna
she fit
say
in
we're
pretty
we're
well.
we're all teenagers, man. We're at that awkward stage in our life where we don't know what the hell we're doing. Everybody's weird.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I mean, she did kind of worm her way into our group. Like, we kind of joked, like, when did you become part of our group? But, like, we still appreciate her being in
Right.
the group
Yeah.
with us.
Just poking fun.
Um, yeah. But she did seem kind of like a loner kid, like kind
Mhm.
of on her own. I mean, I feel like I did too in high
Right.
school because, you know, you have like high school friends and then you don't really hang out with them like outside of school.
Yeah.
So I feel like she was kind of like that and I was kind of like that back then. But um, she did have some mental health issues, but
Mhm.
again, like who doesn't? Unless I don't
Yeah.
know. I think everyone does, but like that, like back in high school even, it was like evident that there were some issues and stuff. And um she was very much into weed, which it's illegal in Indiana. So
For now,
she got into trouble later with it. Is it? Isn't it still?
I think so, but yeah, I mean that's
Yeah,
not
I
long
think
for this
so.
world anymore, I don't think.
Well, no, but Indiana is going to be like the last one
Sure.
to
I would agree.
accept it or
Yeah.
whatever. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, she also became an alcoholic later in life, which I guess her dad was a recovering alcoholic. So they often had arguments about her like following his footsteps in that way. But she would like refuse to talk about it, I guess. There's a documentary that I watched where her parents talk about her and stuff. So I guess anytime he brought it up, she'd just leave the room. Um, but they said before she disappeared, like to her parents at least, it seemed like she was starting to put her life back together. Like she had a steady job, and she couldn't drive because of like a DUI, but like she was staying away from alcohol more, and it seemed like maybe she was on the right track. She also had two pit bulls, Dex and Tifa. I think Dex maybe was like the family dog, but Tifa was her dog, which is
Mhm.
like a tan and white pit bull,
Okay.
and she loved animals. And then, so at the time she went missing, she was 26. This happened in, did I say 2021?
No, you did. Yeah, I was gonna ask when did she disappear? Because I watched a few things on it, but I never got like a date pinned down for it.
Yeah, it was January 2nd, 2021.
Hmm.
So right after New Year's. So she was 26 at the time. She is 5'2". She's pretty short, and she was around 115 pounds, so pretty light as well. And at the time, she was living with her parents, and she still couldn't drive because of her DUI. So her mom often like gave her rides to like friends or her job. So January 1st, 2021, she worked the night shift at CC's Pizza, which is no longer there, but it was on the south side of Indianapolis,
Okay.
and she got off at 10 p.m. And I guess that CC's closed in 2024,
Oh.
but it was open then. Um, and then her mom was supposed to pick her up since she got off at 10, but she ended up texting her mom saying she was going to go out with some friends, I guess, to a bar.
Hmm.
Um, so she ended up going to Manly's Irish Mutt, which is on the east side. I've never heard of it, but
I've
it's
never
like
heard of that
10th
either.
and Shadeland. It's like
Oh,
really
okay. I
like
got. Yeah, yeah,
southeast
yeah,
more.
yeah. I got you.
Yeah. And she went with her on again, off again boyfriend, Eddie Bradford, which in high school she was dating him. So I didn't really know him, but
He
I
was
don't know.
around.
We'll get
Yeah.
into it later.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. And then I guess his friends, Jared Kramer and Olivia Dufour, and then Olivia's friend, Robin Hurt, also was there. And it's not clear how Kirsten got from CC's to this bar because it's like a 15-minute drive on 465.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah. So it's
no one,
far.
it doesn't, yeah. And it doesn't say, like, I guess if they looked at her text, like, she didn't ask her boyfriend or whatever to drive her or whatever.
Hmm.
Maybe she got an Uber. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. But they didn't really ever say how she got there. And then They stayed there for a while, but this bar closed at 12:30, I guess, because of like the COVID restrictions still,
Oh yeah,
since it was
I wasn't even
2021.
thinking about that. Yeah.
I
Okay.
know, yeah. Yeah, so they ended up leaving the area, but I guess before that, there's some conflicting information from this friend group or whatever, but they said like Kirsten and Eddie got into a fight about something, and at first, like Eddie had said that when he arrived to the bar, Kirsten was already drunk, so he left. But then his friend Jared called him back, so he went back to the bar. So that doesn't, I don't know
Yeah.
if that's true, but he also said Eddie said Kirsten threw up on a table and they got kicked out of the bar.
Oh,
But
so
then,
these stories are just all over the place then. Like,
yeah, right. Because other people say like the bar was already closing, so that's why they left.
mm-hmm.
But then he's saying that they get kicked out because Kirsten was so drunk that she threw up on a table. So
Huh.
I don't know. It's a little weird. But like the friend group was talking about going to a bowling alley in Beach Grove for some
Mm.
reason at 12:30
Well,
a.m. or
I mean,
whatever. But
if everybody's drinking and a bar closes early, that's usually the thing to do if you still want to go out and do stuff. You know what I mean? Just go find another spot.
I guess, yeah. But yeah, they said I guess they all said that Kirsten was angry about something and started a fight with them since she was drunk. And I guess they offered to take her home at first, and she said no. And then I guess she punched the window of Olivia's car, I guess. And then so Olivia drove away
Ah,
at
yeah,
that point.
that's
And I
fair.
guess everyone else was already in the car
Oh, okay. So
because like
she
everyone
was, yeah,
left.
yeah, yeah.
So it's a little weird too that everyone's in the car if she's arguing with Eddie. I don't know. But I guess she punched the window and they drove away. And then Kirsten just starts walking. But I don't know. A lot of people say, like, how could friends leave her? But these people weren't really her friends. Like, this is the first time they had met her. Like, they were Eddie's friends.
Right.
So,
And I mean, I've been in situations before where I've had people that friends of friends that come to bars and hang out and whatnot. And I'm going to tell you right now, I would never do anything intentionally to hurt anybody, but at the same time, I'm not really worried about my friends' friends. You know what I mean? I don't know these
yeah,
people.
right.
And I don't mean to sound like cold or dispassionate about it. It's just like if you're acting crazy and I don't even know you, I'm probably just going to do the same thing and go away.
Yeah, especially if they did or she did hit
Right.
the window or whatever. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense to me once I heard that they weren't really her friends. Because if they were her actual friends, then yeah, it's pretty shitty they just left.
Yeah, I mean,
But if
and
they didn't know her at all, like it makes sense.
yeah, if one of my friends was acting crazy at the bar, I'd be like, dude, shut the fuck up and get in my car, or I'm putting you in the car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
we're
Yeah.
not doing this.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like Eddie could have done that because he is the off again, on again boyfriend, and she's like 115 pounds. Like she
Well,
doesn't
but
weigh that much.
if they're the on again off again, they're probably not really ever in the best of terms either. If it's
Yeah.
always coming going back and forth. I mean, I don't know the guy, but I know people that have had those on again off again relationships, and they go from these ebbs and flows of loving each other to fucking hating each other. So I mean,
Yeah.
it could have been one of those situations where since they were fighting, he was just like, yeah, fuck this, I'm not dealing with it.
Right. Yeah, it's true. And they were probably all drunk to some extent, so
Exactly.
or
Yeah.
whatever. Hopefully not the driver. I don't know, but like they weren't all making the best decisions at 12:30 a.m. after a night at the bars.
Sure.
So,
I don't think anybody really does.
um no. But yeah, so they ended up leaving her there and she never made it home from there. So her parents reported her missing the next day, um, the third. And then on Monday, a detective was assigned to the case, Nicole Bachting. Uh, but I guess her parents didn't really want to wait till because they called like Sunday morning and then they were like, okay, we'll assign a detective tomorrow.
Mm.
And it was like, okay. So her parents ended up driving to the bar before ever talking to the detective to like see if they could find anything in the area. And I guess there's like a nearby drainage ditch, so they looked in there and everything too, like in case she like fell down there or someone did something to her, but they didn't find anything. And they ended up running into her ex Eddie, like on his bike, like also looking for her. So
Oh,
I thought
okay.
that was a
Well,
little weird, but I
yeah, I
guess
mean,
that's fine because he lived at the time with his mom, like pretty close to that bar, like only like 4 blocks away or something. So I guess he was just out looking for her because they had called him saying, "Hey, where is she?"
okay,
before they reported her missing.
that's
So
what I was about to ask. I was like, well, how did he know she was missing? Because that would have been a
right,
red
they
flag
called, yeah,
immediately, you know? But
right.
uh
Well, it's always the significant other that's at first,
hey,
no matter what. But
you're not wrong. That significant family
yeah,
member or the significant other is always the prime suspect.
right.
The thing with the detective thing, I don't, once again, I don't mean to sound like dispassionate about anything, or, I'm not trying to discredit anybody's loss or, freaking out in that situation, because I know I would if one of my children were missing.
Yeah.
But usually 24 hours, like, I don't think anybody really takes that very seriously, if they're missing for 24 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't they wait after 24 hours or is it 48?
I don't
I don't
remember.
really even know because she is 26, so
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a adult woman, eh,
yeah.
and she could have just stayed with somebody, you know what I mean? Or I don't know.
Right.
I'm trying to think about it from the other perspective of, the police department and the detectives and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it what the police did or did not do, but
Right.
um yeah, so I mean the first thing the detective did do is try to ping her phone to see where it was
Okay.
that night. But then they found out that it had died before she ever even left the bar. So they couldn't use that to track her. They also, I guess, had horse patrols go through trails in the area, which I thought was a little strange. But I
What?
think there's a walking trail like 4 or 5 blocks south, I guess. I don't
Hmm.
know. But that's what I found is they used horses and they also had drones up in the air, but they didn't find anything. I could not find, I don't think they used search dogs like for scent, which is a little weird to me, but
I
because I could
wonder,
not find that anywhere.
I wonder though, with it being in the city, if it would even be practical to use that for a missing person. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I
get it.
just feel like they always use dogs, but I guess, yeah,
Well, yeah, I'm trying to think about that too, but I feel like every time I've seen the search dogs employed somewhere, it's always been in a very rural area.
yeah, like woods and so, yeah, that's
Right.
true.
I mean,
So maybe it's
I could
normal
be
to do
wrong,
horse.
but well, the horse thing, I mean, I I,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't,
I
I don't
know
know. That's what I found.
I know downtown Indianapolis there are mounted patrols for police
Yeah.
officers. I didn't know it extended like to every corner of the city, but I mean, okay.
Right. I guess if they're free, I guess. I don't
Yep.
know. Um, but the detective did find 3 CCTV videos in the surrounding area. So one video showed her having a verbal argument in the parking lot with a car, and then the car drove away. So it kind of verified what the friends were saying,
Oh, punching the
because
window and
I
having that
think
art.
maybe,
Yeah.
yeah, right. And then she just kind of starts walking, so it shows that.
Mhm.
And that was around 12:30 a.m.
Okay, so time frame.
Then right, yeah, the same time frame. So that makes sense. Then there's a video at 12:40 a.m. that she's walking south on Short Ridge Road. And then the next video they found like there's a YMCA close by. So in the parking lot there's a video, but this video is at 1:59 a.m.
Oh
So
wow.
it's like a big gap. Yeah. And this shows her like bending down to pick something up, and then she like walks around the fence line in the area. and it's a little difficult to see that's her because, CCTV sucks for some reason.
Yeah.
But her parents said, like, from the way she was walking, like, that looks like her.
You
And
could you could
I
pick
I
up
agree from,
yeah,
yeah,
you could pick up mannerisms off CCTV. They do suck when it comes to quality, which is always kind of funny to me because even in 2021, we had good video quality for just about everything. I mean, hell, you have better video quality in your fucking pocket than you do for that stuff.
right, yeah. Um, but yeah, then the video also has like she has a white backpack, which she always had this white backpack. Like she was
Okay.
always wearing it. So like they kind of verified it was her then. Um, so I'm gonna share my screen again. Hopefully this goes better this time. Window. This one. Share. Okay. You could see that, right? So
Yes, I
so
can
this
see it.
is the first video of her. This is her just walking down. Um, which to me, I don't know. I mean, maybe she's looks a little drunk. I don't know. It's a little hard to tell, but
Yeah, it's kind of wobbly for
I'll play it
sure.
again. Yeah, maybe she's wobbly.
For listeners of the podcast, we're watching someone on a CCT walking down a sidewalk.
Yeah, with the white backpack, which it's like her. So, that was one of them. Did I stop sharing? I hope so.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really think about it. Okay. And so the YMCA one, though, I'm gonna pull up that next, but that had a problem because it glitched conveniently, which I'm a little suspicious about. Um, this had music, and I didn't want that. Okay. So this one first before I show it, but this is from the whatever the documentary I saw, so it's a
Oh, okay.
screen grab of it, but it shows the time in the corner, and it says like 2 a.m. and like 18 seconds or something, and then it jumps to 2:30 a.m. So it misses like 30
Oh,
minutes,
wow.
and yeah, which is kind of crazy,
I was
I think.
expecting
And
like
then
a couple minutes. I wasn't expecting it to be at half an
oh
hour. Holy
yeah,
shit.
it's for half an hour. So like when it shows the rest of the video, it'll show that she's just walking around along the fence and then she just literally like disappears from the view. It's like
Okay.
I don't know. I'm suspicious about that because I don't get it like how it's missing 30 minutes. But yeah, first it shows the time, so it says 2 a.m. and then it switches to 2:30
Holy
and then it's gonna
shit.
show her walking and then she just disappears. So
Well, yeah, because it's a fucking 30-minute gap.
no, I know.
Holy shit.
I know. So, I mean, the the documentary kind of jumped on that, and a lot of people I think are jumping on that because it just disappears, and that's the last time like anyone sees her. So it's very bizarre,
I mean, yeah,
but it's it's a glitch apparently, is what the detective said. So
well, I wonder though, I would want to know how often do CCTV cameras
yeah,
glitch like significant amount of time? Like that is super
right,
odd that you would have like I said at the beginning, I was thinking maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes tops, something like that,
right.
where
No,
you
it's yeah,
yeah, you could have had something like maybe like a power surge or an outage for that like quick little second or whatever until they reset it, and sure that would be something like that, but 30 minutes is unbelievably long for a glitch.
yeah,
So,
right. Yeah, I think it's crazy. And the detective just, says, "Oh, it's a glitch." Like, I don't know. Did they look at who had access to this or anything? Like, I feel like maybe it's not a glitch, but I don't, maybe it is. But I feel like they didn't investigate as much, like, who could have deleted some of this footage. Or maybe
yeah,
it's
for
not that
sure.
easy, I guess, to, yeah.
Well, I'm
Um,
I'm curious now, and listeners, I apologize. I'm googling how often CCTVs glitch because this doesn't
yeah,
seem like I don't know.
I mean, it's a poorer area, so maybe it's not as maintained or something,
I mean, I guess,
but
but once again, it. Okay, so for example, if the time randomly jumps from like a minute 9 to 2 minutes, this would be a definite sign that someone removed a section of the footage. So right off the bat, we're seeing 50 seconds would be a definite sign that somebody removed footage. So according
yeah, and
to
this was 30
a
minutes.
now granted, I just did a quick Google search on that, but if that's what it's saying based off of the first result that I see, and all I typed in, listeners, was how often do CCT, yeah, what did I say? How often do CCTs glitch is what I typed into Google. So if it's saying that off of
Yeah,
50
because,
seconds, I think it's kind of fucking weird that we had 30 minutes of missing time just not there, and it's just a glitch.
right. Yeah. Because someone could have grabbed her then. I mean, someone would have had to have access then to delete that too. So
And know
it
it
is a
was
little like
there.
maybe far-fetched. Yeah, I know the camera's there and everything. So it was a little, I don't know. It's just weird. And I don't like when I was watching the documentary, it seemed like the detective just kind of was like, well, it's a glitch. Whatever.
Right. Right.
Like,
No
okay.
biggie.
And I mean, yeah, I think they did look at other areas in that place to see if she ever popped up again. But I don't know how many have, cameras and stuff anyway in that
Right.
area.
Yeah.
So, um, but yeah, I'm gonna show a map. This is a lot of stuff to show. Sorry, maybe sorry listeners, but
Head over to YouTube and check
share.
out the
Yeah.
Paranoid Perspective to check out all of this glorious video.
Yeah, so this is where she worked at the CC's down here. And then her parents kind of lived by the high school up here. And
Oh,
then
okay.
this is the area where she went. So there's Manly's Irish Mutt, and then that's the YMCA. And some people think maybe she was going to this bowling like alley, thinking that that's where her friends were going, but they were going to Beach Grove, which is like south side, like down here.
Right, right.
So,
Well, zoom
but
back
maybe
in.
she was confused.
Yeah, zoom back into that real quick, just so listeners of the show can have some context. The bar that she was at and where the CCT is at is within 2 square blocks. So we're not talking like a
Yes,
super far distance here.
right. Yeah, and I mean, some people were thinking, I mean, the question is, where was she walking to? But people said maybe she was trying to go home, but like her home is north in Lawrence.
Well,
Plus, it's also like, yeah,
and that's probably like if you're on foot, that's going to take you hours to walk that.
yes, it was 6 miles away.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
And in the middle of winter in
right.
Indiana, which is sometimes not too bad, but it's pretty fucking cold most of the time.
Yeah, I did look up the temperature on that day, which I will say later because it's down farther and I don't want to lose my place.
No, you're fine.
But my first question though, I think the YMCA time is wrong. Like I think it wasn't updated for daylight savings time because she's on Short Ridge Road at 12:40, which is like literally right at the corner where Manly's Irish Mutt is, like down a
Hmm.
block at that corner. And then it's 2 o'clock when she gets to YMCA.
Okay, so that would make a lot of sense if they were not
Yeah, because
updated. Yeah.
yeah, because then it would be 12:59 instead, so it's only like
Hmm.
19 minutes.
Right, which is a
So I
feasible
feel like
time.
yeah, especially if you're kind of drunk and or just kind of wandering,
Yeah.
like that could take that long. So I'm wondering if the detectives looked at that time period because everyone I see is focused on 2 o'clock. And it's like
Right.
maybe look between 12:40 and 2, I guess, if you want. But I wonder if they only looked around like 2 o'clock on the other like cameras in the area.
Well, I guarantee you they did if they just saw the timestamp and just were like, oh, that's when we last saw her. They probably weren't accounting
Yeah,
for anything like that.
right. Because daylight savings was only like 2 months ago. Cameras are not updated like ever, so
Right.
I could see that happening. So I don't know. I think they need to look at that. But some people think maybe she was going to Eddie's mom's house. Like I said, he kind of lived close by, but that was also like north. I don't know, it was like up a couple blocks, like up here somewhere. So she went south. So
I
it's
mean,
like where
yeah,
is she going?
regardless, both places that would be assumed she would be leaving to are the opposite direction.
Yeah. And it's so close to the highway. 465 is right there. So I feel like if someone grabbed her,
Oh, it'd be
they'd be
too
gone.
easy. Yeah,
But
you're
yeah.
looking at a major highway that runs around the circumference of Indiana that is what 5, 6 blocks.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah,
Right.
it would take no
So
time to do that.
yeah. So the detective kind of was looking for input from the community
Uh-huh.
after the glitch thing, and then they didn't find any other video. They just kind of said, we need tips from the community and didn't do too much else, I think. So in March, her parents hired a private investigator named Crystal, and she had a 90% rate of solving cases at the
Holy
time.
shit!
And they also offered, yeah, and they also offered a $10,000 reward for any information that led to finding Kirsten. Um, so hoping to get some people. So the investigator saw, I don't know where this is from, but it saw on like CCTV at 2:38 an SUV coming out of Abbey Meadows Apartments, which was just south of the YMCA. And they thought maybe that had something to do with it. It's very hard to see because it's just a black
Uh,
SUV in like the corner of a camera.
yeah,
And
at
also, it might be at the wrong time anyway. Yeah,
yep,
at night is a
at
black
night,
truck or
right?
whatever. Yeah, or black SUV. But then like they saw it at 2:38 and then they saw it again at 3:15. It was just kind of going back and forth, which was weird, like on this road. They was
Uh,
just kind of wandering and going into a parking lot and then coming back out and whatever. So they did give that to the police. And I guess the FBI ended up helping identify that SUV because I think the police at first were like, it's too hard to see what that car is.
right.
So they didn't. But the FBI ended up figuring out who owned that car. And that car was linked to a homicide that occurred at the Abbey Meadow apartments like that night,
Oh,
like
okay,
the same time.
right.
Yeah. So they had the car, I guess, in custody or in whatever it is, compounded. So they did DNA testing and then they were able to eliminate that. Like Kirsten had never been in that car. But at first that seemed like a good
But
lead. But
but it was associated with a homicide nonetheless on the same night.
yes. Yeah, this is not the best area.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's funny
Uh,
when we've talked about this. Um, all of these things that you find out from one simple case could
yeah.
lead to like 6 others. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
so crazy.
Yeah. It's just kind of what's everyone doing in these places?
Freaking
I mean, just something's always
killing,
happening. Yeah.
apparently, just
Or
murderers
y-
everywhere.
right. Yeah. So I guess it kind of went cold after that. 16 weeks later, her parents saw a Facebook post about like a woman's body that was found that was close to Kirsten's description. Um, but that body did have like a spider tattoo on her arm, which her parents didn't think that she had, but they still like told the detective, and the detective did a DNA test, and it wasn't Kirsten either for that.
Okay.
And then September, they held a vigil to hopefully, like, they held it at the YMCA or in the field next to it to
Right.
hopefully get like people in the community to come out and give information and stuff. But I think not a lot of people actually attended. I think in that area, they have a distrust of police, of course.
For sure.
So no one really was coming with ideas or anything,
Yeah.
but they did
Yeah.
try that. Um, and then in March 2022, they had a lead from Franklin, Indiana, at a bar, and they said someone walked in who maybe looked like Kirsten, like the bar manager. Someone called the police to try and see, but through like the TVs, like the cameras in that bar and stuff, they confirmed it wasn't her in May. So she's still missing. Um, so it's what, like 4 years now.
Right.
And Kirsten did have some criminal charges at the time. So in 2017, she had a DUI, like I said, so she couldn't drive still. And then 2018, it said possession of paraphernalia, which was marijuana, which is stupid, but whatever. And then 2018, she had another DUI, so that made it worse. And then December 2020, she had another possession of marijuana. So that was just 18 days before she went missing.
Right.
And that's still like active. Like she still has a warrant out for that.
Oh,
But it's still
okay.
active. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird. And the initial hearing for that was first scheduled for like January 13th. So like, um, 11 days after she went missing. But
Right.
so like because of that kind of stuff, some people think she left town. Like she got mad or
Mm.
something
Yeah.
and thought, I don't have anyone here, so she left. Um, but the biggest problem with that is she left her dog. Like her parents said, if she left, she would have tried to take Tifa no matter what. So they don't think she just left. And also, I guess she left a big paycheck behind at her work. So that wouldn't really make sense that she just left.
Yeah. The other thing too, like there would be at this point there would have been some sort of contact I would think would have been tried to be made.
Yeah,
You know what I
like
mean?
I don't think she would stop talking to her family
Because
or Eddie maybe or
I know she probably didn't have, like you said in the beginning, the best relationship with her family, but you would still eventually, I would think, try to reach out. Because, I mean, if you just
yeah.
decided to dip town, I would assume at some point in time you would see something about you missing or all these
Yeah.
documentaries or something like that and be like, oh shit, I need to call somebody and be like, hey, don't say anything, but I'm alive. Just don't come look
Right.
for
Yeah,
me.
don't freak
You know what I
out.
mean?
Yeah, you would think so. I think so. I mean, I don't think it makes sense that she
Yeah.
just got mad at the bar or whatever and then just
Yeah,
left.
I'm not buying that.
Yeah. Um, and then people also say like Eddie was abusive towards her.
Mm.
Their on again, off again relationship was for 10 years. So it started when she was 16. And it wasn't the best dynamic, like I said. And he also has a lot of criminal charges as well. Like in 2020, October, he had a battery charge, which I don't think was like against Kirsten, but
Well, nonetheless, I
I don't
mean,
know.
you start to see a little
Yeah.
bit of a pattern of behavior.
Yeah. And he had two different no contact orders, which one was
Oh,
in relation to the battery charge and one was from 2013. And then he also had some like possession of marijuana
oh, sure. Yeah.
and he had some small claims court stuff from property damage at apartment complexes. So,
Ah, okay. So yeah, we're definitely seeing a pattern of destructiveness a little bit here.
yeah. So some people think maybe he went back after he was done with his friends and like did something to her, but like I don't know. I mean, there's no evidence of that, obviously. I don't know if they checked like his phone. Where was he the whole time?
I think
Because
you,
they could ping his phone to
yeah,
see if he went home.
I don't know though, because like you said kind of at the beginning too, that would be, I would assume, the primary suspect. If you would think
Yeah,
something happened to her, that's the first person you would
right.
investigate. So like you said, there would 100% be some sort of evidence from the phone, whether it be location, whether it be text messages, whether you know a plethora of things, and not to mention too, you could have talked to his mom. When did he get home and all, you know what I mean? That just, I don't know about that one either. I mean, the,
Yeah.
the pattern of behavior, sure, we can kind of go off of that he might have been abusive. I don't know that. I don't know the guy. I don't know if he actually did anything to her, but he does have that behavior towards others
Right.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe they did investigate that, but it didn't make the cut for the documentary. I mean, it
Yeah, it
was an
could have been.
hour,
Sure.
so,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I thought that was weird that that's not even mentioned at all.
Hmm.
Like if they how they investigated him or anything, because he also lives, like 4 blocks away.
Right.
Even if they went down to the bowling alley, maybe when they drove back, they saw her on the street or
Oh, for
something.
sure. Yeah. Especially if
Like,
she
I don't
was
know.
just kind of wandering.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how much the police actually did, but the other
Yeah.
friends, they didn't have any record really. I looked to them all up, but
We vetted those
it's public.
motherfuckers. Right.
Yeah. So, um, but yeah, we can get into the theories. Like I said, one was maybe Eddie did something, so we already kind of talked about that. Um, One we already talked about that she skipped town. I guess she
Uh-huh.
had 2 warrants out for her arrest at the time, and both are still active today, which is weird.
Even
You'd think
that
they'd drop
though,
it, but
well, but even like having a warrant out for your arrest, I don't know. You see all those like cop shows, and I mean, I see it on TikTok from time to time about how somebody just got pulled over for speeding, and they were like, "Oh, you have warrants for your arrest." So it's like, are they
Mhm.
even actively looking for you? I mean, I'm sure it's in some capacity
All
they
right.
probably are, but I see a lot of those videos where it's like like a speeding ticket, and they run their information. They're like, "Oh, you got a warrant out of this county for you," blah blah blah. So the
Right.
skipping town thing, if she's already had issues with law enforcement, she probably already knows that, okay, what are they going to do? They're not going to come find me unless I do something dumb, most likely.
Yeah.
So
Right. Yeah, so um but one aspect of this too is some people say the police didn't do enough because of her records.
I could believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Another theory is that she committed suicide. Like I said, she had some mental health issues.
Hmm.
But again, I don't think she would have left her dog, and I feel like she'd leave a note too. Like what, who's gonna, and not just on the street or something? Like it doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
And she should have been found already.
I was just about to say that. If you're in the middle of the city or in the southeast side of that city, like you said at the beginning, they even checked like the drainage ditch by there to make sure that she
Right.
didn't fall in there or whatever. I mean, yeah, if she was having problems with mental health and considering that option, you would have found something by now. I mean,
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's like any major waterways down that way. There's no like real wooded areas within that, kind of radius of where she was at. So you would
Yeah.
have
I
found
mean,
something.
right. There is a creek, but it's past Washington Street. So it'd be like 10 or 15 blocks away. But it was
Okay.
like towards the south, the way she was walking.
Yeah.
But there is a creek down there. I mean, it's winter, so who knows how much water's in the creek.
Right.
So, and there is like a walking trail also by the creek
Hmm.
that's like wooded, but not wooded that much. Um, Another theory is that she ended up falling asleep somewhere because she was intoxicated and then passed away from exposure. And they just haven't found her still
Okay.
yet. But I
But
feel like same thing.
yeah, once again, you would have found her by now. Somebody would have
Yeah,
found her. Now, don't get me wrong.
yeah,
That first part of that theory, 100% probable. You're too drunk, you pass out. It's the middle of winter. You're on the street. You die of hypothermia.
yeah.
Yep. Guess what? People are going to see when they're driving by a body on the street or a
Right, on the
body
sidewalk
in,
or something.
yeah,
Right.
or a body in an alleyway or somebody
Yeah,
within a couple days would have found that.
right. Yeah. And This is where the temperature is. It was 34 degrees Fahrenheit that
Okay,
night.
so
1
definitely,
degree Celsius.
yep.
Yeah.
So definitely cold enough if you spend enough time out there to and weren't properly dressed. You could
Yeah.
definitely, you know, definitely get hypothermia.
The last two theories are kind of in the same vein. Like either someone grabbed her for human trafficking or whatever, or, someone grabbed her to kill her, I
Right.
guess. So those are kind of the options. Like someone that didn't know her, that just
Right.
saw her wandering around and grabbed her. And then, like we said, 465's right there. They could be literally anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you don't even have to expand it out that far. They could be anywhere within the country,
yeah,
you know.
right.
So
So that's kind of, I think someone grabbed her, but
I'm kind of on the same page as that. Like I said, I've watched a handful of the stuff on YouTube relating to her disappearance and whatnot, and the way that people don't just vanish if they die. You know what I mean? They,
right.
like we were talking about earlier, somebody would have found her laying in the street or in an alleyway or something like that. I'm pretty convinced what happened was when she was probably walking down that street, somebody probably snatched her up. And I mean, like you said, you could have taken her anywhere at that point.
Yeah,
So,
right.
and
And, oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's known or anything, but with her criminal record, I wonder if she was buying anything from anybody in that area. I mean, I would think it could be a possibility, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure she had a dealer for weed,
Yeah.
and they could be in that area because Eddie lived there too, so maybe they would go and get some together or something. I mean, it could be someone like that
Yeah, I mean,
that
I
knew her.
I don't know though, because I feel like when stuff like this happens and people get kidnapped or people get murdered, it's the hardest ones to find are the random psychopaths that just snatch people out of nowhere and they don't have a pattern, they don't
Yeah.
have a motive, because it's really easy to catch somebody, I feel like, that had an emotional attachment to someone that murdered somebody.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's like that. What was that one guy that just picked a city and went there, or like
Oh,
stashed the kill kits or whatever,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
and
Or
just randomly picked someone?
yeah, or even like Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. You know,
Mm,
he would just pick a random person from my understanding and it was really hard to catch him.
yeah. Yeah, it would be hard. Also, where she went missing is a pretty big crime area.
Yeah.
I pulled up the crime map and it wasn't like dark blue. Like right north of it is dark blue. This
Yeah.
is medium blue. So, the darker it is, the more crime. But uh yeah, that's kind of why I have questions myself just for the maybe I should call it in the tip or something. I kind of want to go back to the map for a second.
No worries.
Um, okay. Because if you can see that, so there's the YMCA, there's the apartment, and she was going south. And then, like I said, if you get past Washington Street, then there's a lake or a creek right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how many blocks. One, two, three, four, five, maybe like 6 blocks actually, or seven.
Sure.
I feel
Yeah.
like she could have made it down there. And this is the walking trail that's even more north than the creek. So, and that's a bunch of wooded area.
Well, but that wooded
So
area
I
is
just don't know
only
if
a
they
block,
searched, not, yeah, it's not that big,
you
yeah.
know.
But there's also like a retention pond
Oh,
for
just right off to
construction.
yeah, right off to the west of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what's like because the documentary, doesn't cover all this, but I feel like they just looked at the immediate like I feel like they stopped looking after Washington Street.
Yeah.
Like they just looked around the YMCA, this apartment complex, and that's it. And like she could have easily just kept walking south. So I
Yeah.
wonder if they ever searched farther south of that.
Well, and
But
I hate to say it, but I feel like you're probably pretty spot on with they were looking at her as an individual and just like, whatever, she's already got all
yeah,
these charges and she's probably just mixed up with the wrong people and, probably got herself killed and you know what I mean? That that's kind
yeah,
of that's kind of what I got from watching a handful of these documentaries too when they did talk to anybody. I don't know if I ever watched one with the actual detective, but it's kind of like it was never said, but it felt like that was the sentiment, if that makes sense.
yeah. Right. That's what I'm kind of thinking. This was on Disappeared, like it's an ID thing, I think, or Discovery, something like that. But they had the detective actually talk and stuff. And to
Mm,
me, it seemed like, and they were very focused on the glitch of the video. Like that was half of the documentary. So I'm like, if it's a glitch, then move on from it. Like they would just say it's just a glitch, but then they would talk about it a lot. It was
right.
like, I don't know. Also, I'm wondering if they checked dumpsters at all because I looked it up and the houses that are right there, at least, they get picked up on Monday. So I wonder if the dumpsters would also get picked up like on Monday because this happened on Saturday. But I don't know if they checked dumpsters before the detective really got involved.
They
Because,
might.
like, it kind
Yeah.
of, yeah, it kind of reminds me of the disappearance of Lauren Spearer at IU, Indiana University.
Hmm.
And like the first thing that the police checked were all the dumpsters and like construction sites right there. But I feel like they didn't do that at all with this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's mostly what I have. And like I said, I don't think they checked the timestamp if it was different. Because it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense that she's just wandering for an
I
hour and
I feel like she was probably a victim of a random psycho. That's what I feel like, and I also feel like in crime-ridden areas, police are not as well. And I'm going to say it from both sides. They're desensitized to it, most likely, and just don't. They have a level of empathy that's not there anymore, just because they deal with it all the time, and they're probably extremely overworked in that area.
yeah, yeah,
So
probably.
when you see something like this pop across your desk, it's probably one of those just like, up, just another Tuesday. Here we go. I got six of these, you know.
Yeah,
And
that's probably true.
I'm not trying to say I'm not trying to be unempathetic or say anything bad about Kirsten. I'm just saying that's probably the mindset of that department in that area. You know.
Yeah. And I guess the police headquarters, like one of the headquarters is like right there too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you'd think they would check their cameras outside, but
Yeah. Once again,
to
I
see
feel
if she
like
walked by, but
I feel like it's just one of those like subtle indifferences they have towards people that already have charges and aren't on, they think they're not on the right path, and I don't know. It's a real shame that we don't have any answers for any of this.
yeah. But it's still an active case. One more sharing my screen for her. Which one is it? This? No, not that. Not that. Stop. That's my notes. I mean, it basically says the same thing, but this is this one. This is the poster, the missing person poster. So pictures of her and what she was wearing or whatever. But if you have any information on this, then they want to, contact IMPD still at 317-327-6160. And there's also an anonymous tip line at 317-279-6082. or email missingpersons@indy.gov. So those are kind of options if anyone who's happens to listen to us knows anything. So,
yeah, I
but
mean,
yeah,
we'll have all those linked in the show notes too. So
yeah,
if you happen to know anything about this case or you happen to know any details, I mean, like Sarah said, it's still an open
yeah,
investigation. Could
right.
be,
Or
it
you
could,
see her in a different city.
there you go. I was just about to say that it could
So,
be the difference between, us thinking she was just snatched up by some random person and maybe she did run away, you know?
yeah.
So, all right, well, listeners, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. As always, if you want to check out any other social media, just check out the Paranoid Perspective. We'll be probably everywhere, with the exception of I don't think we're doing Twitter, but
No.
we're not worried about Twitter.
Yeah.
uh, but any way you can interact with this post goes so far. Anyway, whether it's just the YouTube video, whether it's the podcast you're listening to, like it, give it a rating, write us a review, give us a comment. Any interaction would be greatly appreciated. And the best and free way to always help us out is to share this show with a friend. It goes so much farther than you could even imagine. So that is going to wrap it up for today. And as always,
Remember, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not watching. See you next time on The Paranoid Perspective.